New Hampshire Community Radio, broadcasting live at 90.9, 104.1 FM from the University of Southern Maine, streaming on the web, WMPG.org. And what about those Smarty Pants phone, Dale Robin?
I use a, I just have to say before I talk about the Smarty Pants phones,
Yeah.
I am just really impressed at the multitasking that's going on right down the desk from me.
Oh dear. Well, don't.
I'm just really impressed.
Well,
so
I'm actually eating and finishing my novel, and at the same time, I'm
getting ready for Nonprofit Insider.
I'm balancing my checkbook so I know how much money I want to give when I call 874-3000 to Nonprofit Insider.
Oh my God, this girl! All right, so you asked about the Smarty Pants phones.
Yes, because they can.
I listen on my phone every morning.
Yeah,
and I find the two ones that I like are PRX and TuneIn. PRX is not quite as reliable as TuneIn, but TuneIn has a commercial.
Well, see,
before
there you go,
start.
and I'm sure there's a million more apps out there.
There probably are. But they're all free, and you just download, figure out which one you like, and you just have WMPG be your favorite. You just open your phone, and click the app, and you're listening.
And we kind of know we are your favorite because you call us and you ask us to play certain things. You call us with interesting questions. Oh, by the way, this is Deb and Dale Robin. Dale Robin is our wonderful development director here. Everything, all the stuff you see, all the swag, all the promotions you see, that's
Don't
her.
tell them that I'll get hate mail.
Okay. But she's one of the three paid staff members here. The rest of us are all volunteers.
I'm kind of the goddess of Begathon is how I like to think of myself.
Well, and we think
not that I'm so important.
We have other names for you, but that's one of them. That's certainly one of them. Absolutely.
No, I love Begathon. I really love Begathon.
Oh, Begathon's a lot of fun. I mean, we talk about visiting each other's shows.
I know that was so great this morning.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
So be part of the fun. Come on over.
Please.
92 Bedford Street. Deliver your donation in person. We'll give you whatever swag you're supposed to get.
And we know most of you are off to the Common Ground Fair later today. But you can stop off before you go, and it'll be it'll be pain free. And you get a sandwich and you get popcorn.
Wouldn't it be something to be wearing one of those beautiful WMPG T-shirts at the Common Ground Fair?
And you can be the first one on your block to wear one of those T-shirts. It was designed by a student for the. It has an autumnal theme.
Yeah, autumnal. Yes,
autumnal theme. So when you call 874-3000, just ask the very busy phone person, and they'll tell you all about it.
It's our students right now, students and a volunteer.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
See, we really are your community radio station. We've got people here from all walks of life and stuff, and this is the joy of it. This is why I am in love with the station.
I don't know if these people got thanked.
Why don't you thank them?
Okay, Alexandra from New Hampshire. Hi, Alexandra. And I think they made that change for you. She knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
James from Scarborough, Sue from Portland, and Eve and Seth from Portland. Now, all of these people are regular, ongoing members of the WMPG supporter family. And I'm so glad to see all of your names on that list. I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. We're very grateful. We'd like to see some more people, some different people, too, join this great crowd of supporters. 874-3000. You can, if you're in the car on the way to the Common Ground Fair or wherever you go off to today, everybody I've talked to today says, I'm off to the Common Ground.
Oh, are they?
That's why I'm saying it. Yeah, if you're on the road, all you have to do is call 874-3000. Tell the phone operator that how much you want to contribute. You don't have to give your credit card number until you pull over and are in a safe place. You could be a sustaining donor, which is a certain amount of money will come out automatically.
And if you're a business owner or a manager of a business, we have business memberships that allow your donation dollars to actually work for your business a little bit. And so I would love to talk to you about that. But talk to the phone volunteers and tell them you want to talk to me, Dale Robin, and I will call you and we will have a chat. And I will convince you that this is a really great way to make a donation to WMPG is to be a business member if you are a business owner or manager.
I think
Hey,
that's
could
a
I
great idea.
thank some people again?
Please do.
Okay, so we get help from a lot of people to do this this Begathon thing, and here are some of the places that have donated gifts for you: Port City Music Hall, State Theater, One Longfellow Square, Stone Mountain Arts Center, Heptunes, Space Gallery, Yes Magazine, Maine Magazine, and Old Port Magazine. And those 3 magazines are available at the $40 pledge level, a 1-year subscription to any of those. So that's pretty nice.
That is really nice.
Yeah.
And we talk about the premiums that we have, and of course this very eclectic little audio oasis is really the big present. That's the big present. But we like to give you a little thank you presents too, just because we know, there's a lot of.
Well, because we love you.
That's it. Simply said, I like it much better than the long convoluted explanation.
We just love you, and if we can give you stuff, it makes us happy.
And we have the best listener. Go ahead.
We do. We have the best radio listeners on the planet.
We do,
I
indeed.
believe that with all my heart.
We all do. And 874-3000 is the number, 207 area code. And I keep saying it's because, we're hoping you're going to call.
Yes. So here, we'll imprint this in your mind. 207.
874.
3000.
3000. 874-3000.
So should we tell the people about what's going to happen today? Because, David is away, so the mice are playing.
David is away, and David Unger is the host of Nonprofit Insider. The show started in April, I think, in April time, and since then he's kind of rocked the airways on Fridays. He's had so many, executive directors of nonprofits in from all over the place, people whose mission it is to make, improve the quality of our life here in Maine, and he had to go off on a. Well, I was accusing him.
I don't know. He's probably at the Common Ground Fair. No, I'm kidding. No, he had something.
I said some junket or other. Yeah,
something more important than this.
Absolutely,
he had to do.
Yeah, he had to do something for his.
So we left this in our hands,
and he's very nervous. He's very nervous
Yes.
because he's sure we're going to. He's worked very hard at creating a certain I don't know, je ne sais quoi that about his
a whole
show.
Ambiance of.
It's really.
Yes.
It's true, and we're and he just. As he walked away from the station that day, that when he shaking his head and feeling very pale,
He was kind of worried.
He was very worried. But we're gonna do him proud. We know he has a lot of listeners, even in that short time, who want to call 874-3000 and donate so we can hear about these nonprofits where we don't hear about them anywhere else. We only, as David says, you only hear about nonprofits when they're looking for money. But this is a chance to hear about them. When they're just want to tell you about their mission and tell you about their experience of being nonprofits in Maine, and it's a great opportunity. And he's wonderful at it. Don't you think?
He's really good.
Yeah,
he's a good interviewer.
He rocks.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, let me just read this here. WMPG is on the air thanks to donations from our listeners. And through grant support from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. The CPB promotes the growth and development of public media in communities throughout America. Online at cpb.org. There you have it. Well, that's the business stuff. So, we're going to, this was recorded last week, and it's a conversation between David and Dale Robin talking about your favorite radio nonprofit, WMPG.
Yeah, so this was interesting because I got to be in the hot seat last week. Well, I mean, it was a recorded interview.
Yes, but
David wouldn't be here.
it was with one take. We weren't messing around. We were going for the one take thing mainly because as the sound person, I can't do 2 takes. I can only do the one.
So yeah, because she's got to finish that novel and balance that checkbook.
Okay,
so while this plays, if you care to show your appreciation.
Sorry.
To show your appreciation, 874-3000.
874-3000.
Donate online at WMPG.org and click that donate button.
Oh, we'd love it if you click the donate button. So let's listen to the
Or come
sound.
and see us.
I love this theme music. Isn't it great?
It's nice theme music.
Yeah,
We should let people listen to it.
Oh,
Okay.
good point.
Let's do that.
874-3000.
Welcome to Nonprofit Insider. My name is David Unger, and I'm pleased to be hosting a show with executive directors and key people of local nonprofits. I've worked in the nonprofit world for over 30 years. In those years, I've realized that the majority of the community does not know about the organizations that provide critical services and benefits to our community that we sometimes take for granted. This is a chance to hear about the organizations that touch so many in our community. The opinions expressed on Nonprofit Insider are not necessarily those of WMPG, its staff and underwriters, or of USM. Today we have Dale Robin Goodman, Development Director of WMPG. Hi, Dale. Robin.
Hi, David. Nice to be here with you.
Well, it's good seeing you again. So I do have a disclaimer before we go into the show, okay? And I have to be very serious about this disclaimer. This part of Nonprofit Insider is recorded because I was not able to be here on the Friday that we wanted to air the show. I cannot assume any responsibility for any of the edits, for any of the cuts, for any of the blurs that go into this, because I'm really going to try and be serious, but it is Begathon after all, right?
It is Begathon.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about WMPG itself, because we always hear about Begathon and we always hear the surface stuff, why we need money and things like that. But WMPG is a nonprofit.
Yes, we are. We're a non-commercial radio station, and we are a nonprofit.
So you have some of the same issues and things that go on that any nonprofit organization would have.
Right, right.
But yours is a little more unique because it's community radio.
Yes, and that most of the service that we provide is actually radio that is made by volunteers.
So when you talk about service, so your end product, when you raise money, what do you tell people you need to raise money for?
Well, yeah, that's a great question, because
I've been thinking about that for a long time.
How many CDs do we actually need to buy? Well, you'd be surprised, but yeah, I mean, everything from these little foam covers on the mics to the headphones to the equipment that runs in the studio 24 hours a day. You know, because a lot of people don't realize we're 24 hours live.
Right.
So there are people sitting in those chairs.
Except for this 15 minutes.
Except for this one little 15-minute segment here. Yeah, everything's live, and there are really people in the real chairs and pushing the real buttons. So we have to repair and replace a lot of things. But the largest part of what our costs are 3 personnel.
And you do 24/7 live radio, 365.
Right.
With 3 full-time people.
Right.
That's amazing.
Well, most stations that I know of our size and scope, have anywhere from 8 to 12 staff people.
So how do you do it?
Well, here at WMPG, we do it with our volunteers. We have a volunteer music director, a volunteer news director. We have volunteers that curate the library. Every genre has a volunteer that loves up that piece of the library.
Right.
All the programming is made by volunteers, where in many stations there are professional people who do that. Why is that? Why would we do that crazy thing here at WMPG? Because WMPG is about returning access to the airwaves to the people who own the airwaves, which is the public.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because we had a mini Begathon, I believe it was in June.
In June.
And we had 4 volunteer hosts on the show. And they talked about why they did it, including myself. You know,
right,
it's a passion. You know,
that's right. That's right.
We get nothing for this, you know, for our time and service.
But
the joy, and I get to see you every week.
I love that, David.
But how critical a service is this to our community?
Well, that's a great question, and it kind of has to do with my question to you. Don't I get to ask you a question?
Not until I ask you.
Not to. Okay.
But you can ask me now if you want.
Well, but here's the thing: is that we're not saving puppies, and we're not cleaning up the environment, and we're not healing sick children. But we are the place where people who do that can talk about it and talk about why it's important. We're not an art gallery and we're not a concert series, but we're the place where local and independent musicians get heard and artists get to talk about their work. So when I was growing up, which was a really long time ago, I remember that there were, I grew up in a big city, but sometimes if I visited a small town or in the town where I went to college, there were local radio stations. And there were many of those here in Maine that were owned by a local family, and there were, the recipe shows and the swap shows and the farmers gardening shows and all these little local things where local people got to make radio. And then there was, also syndicated news and all this other stuff. Well, all those radio stations, except for very few, are gone. They've been bought up by very, very large communications companies. And our media, both television and radio, our media is really owned by groups whose purpose is to make money. It's a business venture, not a community or civic venture, and not an artistic venture. And so why is it essential? Because you can tell me I have free speech, but if I have something to say, I'm an advocate for children, let's say. I have something to say, but if I can't use my community's broadcast airwaves to say it, I could talk to 100 people, but I'm never going to reach the number of people that I could reach on the radio. It curtails our free speech when our airwaves don't belong to us. Community radio is really unique in that it's real people. I mean, you're just a regular guy. I know you. And you get to
talk with regular people about their work.
About their work and why it's important to our community. There is no place else in our media where that is happening. It maybe happens a little bit in print nowadays, but there are fewer and fewer even reporters. So this is such a precious resource. And once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
You don't get it back from the big corporations or whatever, whoever else is scarfing up radio frequencies.
Right. Now, I was on the board for a couple years, and it was the part that amazed me is the size of the operating budget.
It's pretty small.
About what is it?
It's a little over $300,000.
And how much of that do you need to generate each year just to keep the status quo with what you're doing?
All of it.
No, I mean, let me rephrase the question. From the general community.
Oh, from the community?
Yeah.
Well, there are two ways. Here's where our money comes from. It comes from listener donations. That's Begathon and direct mail. It comes from businesses, local businesses. We don't have corporate donors. There'd be no reason for a corporate donor to care about us. But local businesses do, and they support us with underwriting and business memberships. So those two things together, probably a little over half.
So about $150,000 you have to generate from the community itself.
That's right.
Okay. I want to come back to that, but we're at our halfway point, and we have our trivia question every week.
Oh, no.
And I have to admit, I did a lot of research on this one.
Making me nervous, David.
So we're going to ask the question, we'll go to break, and then we'll come back for the answer. If I wanted to see a museum with hurdy-gurdies in Maine, where would I go? This is WMPG, Southern Maine and Eastern New Hampshire's community radio, and I'm David Unger on Nonprofit Insider. And today we're talking to Dale Robin Goodman, Development Director of WMPG. And I wish we had TV right now because the look on her face is just incredible. The question was, if I wanted to go see a museum with hurdy-gurdies in Maine, where would I go?
I don't know. But I'm really interested in
I would go to Thorndike Village. The Bryant Stoveworks and Museum displays an eclectic collection of antique cast iron stoves, parlor heaters, roadsters, and touring cars. In addition, the museum features antique layer pianos, pipe organs, music boxes, Nickelodeons, and hurdy-gurdies. Now, there should be a second part to this question. Yeah. What is a hurdy-gurdy?
Well, it's a musical instrument, and it's got a...
It's a stringed instrument that produces sound by crank-tuned, rosin wheel rubbing against the strings.
Yeah.
So now you have a weekend activity.
I do. I'm looking that up. I want that address. Do you have their address? I'm
No,
interested.
I
I'm looking
provide the
Thorndike Village.
Right.
You just planned my next free weekend, which is God knows when, because you know what I do on the weekends.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the $150,000 you have to raise.
Yep.
Is it getting harder each year?
It has been hard since the 2008 thing. Actually, we were raising a little less then. You know, in 2011, we increased our power. And
Power up.
We did the power up thing, and we broadcast further and wider and better. It's not just a bigger, it's also a better. Our sound quality is much better. And that's been fabulous. And people in new communities are thrilled to have us. But that did increase our costs. So we pay rent and utilities and, you know, the whole transmitter antenna thing.
Right.
So, but we, like probably every nonprofit, really suffered when the economy suffered so badly, and it's been a slow, hard climb back up. So we're in that same boat. And, you know, we don't have those really essential necessity things that we're doing. Nobody's starving and nobody's sick.
But the point that you made that this is for the community, it's the community forum on the radio that no other station can provide 24/7, where anybody can audition to do a show and possibly get that slot to do the show.
Right.
I mean, it's a unique phenomenon in itself.
Right. So, do I think it's worthy? Of course I do, because I'm here. This is my work and this is my passion. I believe in this so much because I do think it's the last bastion of free speech. I do think that we need it. And the fun thing that we experience is people who live here and have listened to WMPG for some time and then move away, call us up or write to us, you know, and say, hey, I never knew this was so unique because I went to, you know, I don't know where, somewhere else, Cleveland or something, I don't know. And they don't have that here. And what the heck? I didn't, you know, you don't know what you got till it's gone, right?
Right.
So, yes, I can make a big, strong case for why this is so essential to our community, and particularly our activist community, our artist community, people who care about art and music. It's just so essential.
I mean, last week there was a trio. Was it with Wee Doggies? There was a trio right in the studio just performing.
Oh, just the other day. Oh, yes, right. It was Ghost of Paul Revere. Right. Oh, they were great.
They were wonderful.
And, you know, they were just standing around one mic. It still sounded so fabulous.
That's great.
It was. And this is the place where that happens. So, yes, I could make a lot of cases, but it has been hard. You asked the question, is it difficult? Yes, because there is such deep need. And need
just to keep the doors open.
Well, yes, but I mean in our community there's deep need, other need than just us. So we compete with some pretty other great arguments for your money.
And Begathon is such a unique concept in fundraising. I mean, you don't do the hardcore fundraising. You send out a letter, you have fun for 4 or 5 days on the air with it, and you really strive to make your goal. And here's what I don't understand. Okay, and I've been fundraising for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Here's an opportunity for people to make a statement. Okay, and in the fundraising world, we call it a gift of value.
Right.
So this morning when we got to the station and I'm getting ready for the show, and I said, so what's my goal for Begathon? You said 8 calls.
Right.
And I'm sitting there scratching my head and saying, we're only going to try and get 8 calls during this half hour. I mean, as a fundraiser,
You're baffled.
I'm baffled.
Well, it is true that, you know, people can turn off the dial, and I mean, there's an exit.
But here's what I want to challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how many people listen to this show. I have no clue.
Probably a few hundred.
Okay. So if those few hundred who've never given before would just call in with some gift.
Right.
Just to show we support community radio.
Right.
that's a major statement in itself. Besides the dollars that we collect, whatever they would be, that gives you a solid base for future grant writing to say that here's the number of people in our community who really appreciate and need community radio.
Absolutely. So why don't I set the goal at 100? Well, because we want it to be a reachable goal. I always say if everybody who are listening could throw us $5, $10, we'd be golden. And there's probably somebody who could throw us 50,000.
But let's
We'd be
even
done in
start
a
with
day.
5. Let's just
Okay.
start with 5. So if you've never given before and you believe in the concept of community radio,
Right.
make a statement and say, let's show the community what community radio is all about.
And then tell your friends you did that, and tell them that my $5 made a difference, and your $5 can make a difference too. Because if everybody gave us $5, that would be exactly what community radio is all about.
It is. It's about the community
Yes.
supporting radio for free speech.
That's right.
And what we need it to do.
That's right. And that's more voices being heard. Even if you're not speaking on the radio, your few bucks makes a voice. And there are people who can afford more, and there are people who give more. But if somebody walked up to me and said, here's $50,000, don't have a Begathon, I would have to decline, because this Begathon is about the community buying into the idea that they own and care for and love this radio station. That's what it's about.
So the community owns this station in
Yes.
essence.
Well, I mean, the University of
Right,
Maine
right,
system
right,
has
but-
the license, but the heart and soul of the station is the community.
You said you had a question for me.
Well, it's...
You even wrote it down.
I did, because I was afraid I'd forget. Well, it's about this very thing. How do you attract donors to an organization that doesn't have the heartstring thing? It has more maybe a cerebral thing about free speech and about access. But, there are a lot of puppies and babies out there, and we
And
love
we've
those
had them on the
too.
show here.
And we love them. And I give money to those places.
Right, but you talked about WMPG today in a way that I've not heard in the
Really?
in the years that I've been involved with the station. Okay, that it is community radio, and it's for the community, and the community has to, by giving the $5, that gives ownership
Right.
and a sense of belonging, empowerment, saying, this is an important part of our lives, so we can hear about the puppies and the other issues that are out there.
And hear the wonderful music that there is being made that isn't being picked up by commercial radio
Right.
stations.
When Lisa and I first started talking about this, she used the terminology making radio.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it, but now I get it.
Yeah, right. Isn't it wonderful?
It is absolutely wonderful.
Just like making bread or making a quilt or making a painting or making a song.
Right.
Radio is art, and there are so many people here doing it so beautifully
But
and
here's the
passionately.
thing. We touch so many people
Yes, we do.
that we don't even know about because they may be flipping their channel. They may be walking through a room that has WMPG on.
Right.
So, this is a station for the community, and we need the community to show that they're for us.
Yes, and to believe that they really do have ownership. I
Right.
think that's so essential. And the people who get it so deeply. And we love those donors who...
But here's the thing. If they're listening to the station, they get it.
Well, I think it takes a while to really understand it.
Well,
'cause
hopefully-
because it's just radio if you're not really hearing that message. So
Right.
But people who let us into their hearts, they love us and we love them, and we know our listeners and we cherish our listeners.
So let's set a challenge out there.
Okay, you're not going to deal with the 8. You're ditching the 8.
No, I'm sticking the 8 as my
Okay,
goal because
8
I want to
calls.
achieve the goal.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But let's put a challenge out there. Let's say 100 people by the end of today, new calls, and just say
874-3000.
NPI, so we know that they're buying into what we're doing.
NPI is Nonprofit Insider. It's not
Yes.
some...
No, nonprofit
Some-
insider.
Yeah, it's not some odd chant that we're asking you to. I
No.
just wanted to clarify
No,
that.
we had
Yeah.
Kumbaya on a couple weeks ago.
So NPI for Nonprofit Insider.
Does that work for you?
Oh, it does.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's show the community at WMPG in this week of Begathon
Yeah.
that we're not begging, we're empowering and supporting. I'm
Yeah.
changing the twist a little. You can go back to Begathon in the next segment.
Yeah, and the name Begathon has been questioned, but it has such whimsy to it. Our listeners really like it. And,
Right.
And it
But
has whimsy to it.
It has whimsy, but this is really serious
It is
stuff.
serious stuff, yes. And we do take our jobs really seriously.
No one's ever questioned that.
Yeah.
But, you know, we kid around about Begathon. We have fun with it. And
Yeah, we do.
I have no idea what was blurted in and out this entire 20 minutes or what's going to happen after the recording's
We're
over.
going to put this recording under lock and key until airtime, right? In the vault.
Yeah, but you can just cut in any time you want, too.
Oh, it's true. I'm going to think about that.
There you go.
Well, anyway, it's been really wonderful to have this chance to talk about it. I don't always, get a chance to talk about WMPG as my personal passion as well.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Next week, we have Jan Kearse. Jan is the executive director of Lift 360. The music appears courtesy of Mike Hubbard. You can find it on www.michaelhubbardmusic.com.
We're going to just take this
Check out
down
Mike's
a little bit.
website to see where he's
Sorry,
playing this
David, but you're not here, and we need the time to tell you about 874-3000.
And thanks